What is the key to my sexual fulfillment as a woman is a question that I've been asking myself for years. Is it erotic? Is it sexual? Is it love? Is it God? Is it spirit? Is it ecstasy? It's all of that.
I am Max van Praag. Welcome to Private Matters. Here we have conversations about sex, love, and intimacy. And one of my favorite topics we're going to talk about today is masculine-feminine energy. And it is so important to remember because most relationships don't end because of a lack of love. They end because of a lack of intimacy. And intimacy gets lost when people forget who they are, masculine or feminine, and if the polarity gets lost or reversed. So this is our topic for today, and our guest today is the perfect guest for this topic, an international tantric teacher who teaches in France and in many countries, and who lives here, and an intimacy and sex coach, Jan Robinson. Jan, welcome to the show. It's so good to have you. Yes.
It's great to be here, Max. Thank you. It's great to be here with you and with your audience. It's a real honor. I work with smart, successful spiritual women who find themselves lonely when Friday nights come along. No one to hold them, to cuddle with. And I help them to magnetize their amazing man. One of the challenges for women who are very capable in the world, who have a business, or even who are single mothers and they run a household. It's a similar energy that both run and both need to make things happen. And that's what the masculine is excellent for, is like getting shit done, making it happen, being on task, and getting there efficiently. And the masculine is great at taking care of survival. And beyond survival, once our survival needs are met, that's where the feminine comes in. And the feminine is about accessing the finer things in life, of love and joy and pleasure and beauty and rapture.
Yes. And one of the things I love about you is how you embody joy. Yeah.
Thank you. That's really a core message in my work. It's a core value of joy. It's something that is actually very profound. Something that I think is perceived about sexuality and pleasure, intimate relationship, is that it's something fun. That sex could be seen as something great if you have the time, as opposed to a necessity. And the fact is that life is created by both masculine and feminine. One of the principal essence traits of the feminine is joyful radiance.
Yes. Yes.
Very, very attractive, very magnetic to the masculine.
One of the things I know about you that you do and that your work is about is ending the war between the sexes. Tell us about that.
Sure, yeah. So there is the longest of all wars, the war that has been being raged.
Never ending.
Yes.
Never ending war.
The war that wreaks havoc in people's bedrooms in divorce court is the war between the sexes. And someone might say, oh, no, I love men, I love women. And still most people have rage inside, bitterness, resentment. If you go deep into the self, to the real shadow, the places that aren't easy to go to, but are necessary to go to become a fully awake, whole being, is in there lies great pain, resentment, rage, terrible disappointment, grief, feelings of betrayal with regard to the opposite sex. So I haven't been able to get what I want, what I need.
It's this huge expectation, like they have to provide everything.
Right, and that is one of the biggest illusions at the core of many people's thinking about love relationship.
Correct.
Is that you get love from someone else.
Yes.
Love isn't something
you get
that you give or receive. Love is a force that permeates all of existence. It's one's job to attune to the divine current of love. And when you're able to do that, I'm able to do that, we can meet in that field of love and we share love.
And we realize that when we are in a relationship where we are loved by somebody, but we don't love this person, then we are not satisfied. Even though they give us everything, even if they take us to the moon, they overshower us with gifts or love. If you don't feel it, if I don't feel it, then there is not the experience. So
the self-love, that is, or that attunement to divine love.
No, what I'm trying to explain is you are what you love. You are what you love, and not what loves you. So you don't love your partner, but your partner loves you and gives to you. If you don't feel it, then it is still not the same.
Right, exactly. It's everybody's responsibility to learn to attune to love, to divine love, to expand and deepen their capacity for love itself, rather than approaching it as something that you find outside of yourself.
I see. It's not a personal thing. Love is going through all of us.
That's right. I once heard a quantum physicist in a radio interview actually say the binding force in all of existence is love. I loved hearing that.
That's great.
Yeah.
So ending the war between the sexes. Yeah.
Right. So
divorce.
There are biological genetic roots to this war between the sexes. Our biological genetic programming is to play very different roles in the dance of the procreation of the species. So the male species is programmed to spread its seeds far and wide and often, and the feminine species is conditioned, is programmed really to take care of the offspring and to bond. So right there lies an inherent conflict. The feminine species wants the masculine to stick around, and she's wired to perceive his stick around ability. And that's what makes a man attractive to her. And although we could go into that more, because it's not just that. That's a nice guy. And
that's a nice guy.
We also want to feel his animal nature.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the masculine has this genetic programming to fertilize all the flowers. It's a function of his programming and of his testosterone. This is something women really need to understand about men, is that's their nature. We women, we're like flowers on this earth. And the masculine, it's one of the beautiful things about the masculine, is that this great love for feminine beauty. So that said, we have this inherent conflict. The benefit of being conscious human beings, the benefit of our consciousness, is that we can rise above our animal programming and create something higher, something that uplifts us and ultimately allows us to transform into our greatest, most magnificent divine human selves.
That's a very good way of saying it. Yes. Yes, it elevates us from the animal place. Sometimes we have to go back there, though. There's people who have forgotten about the animal, and they have to go back there.
Yeah, and I want to say, believe me, I'm a total stand for the animal in us. It's not about transcending that nature. It's about embodying the full spectrum, and that's what makes a man or a woman most exciting as a lover. It's the man who has a lot of animal in him and a lot of God in him. It's a woman who could just go deeply into her eros in a totally uninhibited way.
Yes.
And have our heart completely open at the same time. There's a purity with the eros.
Right.
Both integrated. And I'm very much a stand for that, the integration.
That's right. To totally sink into that and forget about being nice in that moment. Those times, that's not the time to be nice.
In bed, when you really want it to be hot,
No,
not at all.
It's not the time to be nice.
I mean, you could play it and then surprise your lover. So it's a play, it's a dance. The ideal is that we learn to expand into our full range of masculine, feminine within, and that we have the discernment to access different parts of that continuum when the situation calls for, when it's necessary, or when it would feel really enlivening. And one of those places is an intimate relationship. So a woman, back to where we opened the conversation, a woman can be extraordinary in business. I was just working with a client yesterday who told me she's great. Give her, have her create a business contract, $5 million business contract, and she can do it. Put a man in front of her, and she doesn't know quite what to do. She loses her sense of empowerment. So we're going to be working together to help her expand that range, because she's great in the masculine.
Right, or it's a different part, a different persona. Sometimes we have to access different personas within ourselves.
I would say
the business person is still useful.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I would say it's even deeper than persona. It's an energetic. We are electromagnetic beings running both masculine and feminine, and we can learn to activate more, or actually learn to bring in more of these cosmic forces from our environment. So feminine energy originates, sources from the earth. And that's what the Tantric spiritual technology is about. It gives you tools to actually bring in more feminine, creative, juicy energy,
you are
more
also
divine masculine.
a Tantric teacher. I know you teach trainings all over the world, in different parts of the world. Yeah. So deeper than persona, it's an energetic, and so how I see it is that it's really, for someone like we just described, it can be very scary to approach this kind of work with me. It's very confronting for one's identity. Well, this is who I am. Do you mean to say, Jan, I've heard this, do you mean to say that I have to change who I am just to get a guy? It's like, no, this is an opportunity. If you have the courage to be on the path to attract a soulmate level relationship, I congratulate you, I honor you, because you are stepping onto a journey to expand the ways of loving that you haven't yet known before. You are on a path to becoming more whole, to activating all parts of who you are and who you can be in the world. So it's more about activating that energy that's dormant, that she can access. And bringing it into anything,
Bringing it into anything.
I recently met a woman who told me with great conviction that she was looking for a relationship, and this woman was very professional, very successful, like a real high-profile businesswoman. And she was very much in her masculine because of her job, and she was very much in her head, in her masculine, and she was explaining to me what this relationship would look like, but I didn't really feel her openness and her energy. And I asked her the question, do you prefer the word penis or do you prefer the word cock? And she said, oh, I prefer the word cock. And her whole demeanor changed. She changed, her whole energy changed, and from that place, I was able to coach her that from that place she could attract a partner, not from the businesswoman type place. People have so many stories about who they should open up to physically, and, what type of person, and sometimes we find the greatest ecstasy in places where we don't expect it. you know, as somebody who is not necessarily part of our world, or sometimes there's a huge connection there.
Yeah. Have you ever met anybody who said, oh yeah, I found my soulmate when I was looking for him?
That's right.
I've never.
That's
it's
right.
always here. Oh,
that's right.
When I wasn't looking, this blessing came into my life.
Yes.
So,
you found your soulmate?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I'll say I found a soulmate. I see that we have a soul. We travel in packs and soul families, and so there can be more than one soulmate in a lifetime. And mine came into my life. You know, I've been teaching as really a teacher of spiritual ecstasy for many years, and taught in 7 different countries, teaching men, women, and couples how to access the deepest, most soulful connection and passion and playfulness in their intimate lives. And I'm so grateful that I get to live the power of these teachings with my beloved.
And you're probably observing, and I want to hear what you observe when you go out and teach in the world, that there's an incredible hunger of people to understand love, or to learn more about love. People, an incredible hunger, right?
It's the deepest longing we have as human beings. It's, you know, what I love about, what I've discovered about love, intimacy, and sexuality is that there is deeply embedded within those things is the pathway to returning to the one, to God. And so loneliness is misunderstood by many women, as if that were a bad thing. And I would invite women to feel deeper into that loneliness and identify it as longing. There's a place deep within the core of a woman's heart it's a hole. That hole is meant to be empty. That hole is the portal back to divine, to the divine essence. And so, you know, we love to fill that hole with cocks, with food, you know?
Chocolates.
And there's an exquisiteness in being with that longing that will always be there. It's still in me, even though I have a soulmate in my life, and it's what can springboard a woman into states of ecstasy in lovemaking. That just like that egg, and then I have my masculine lover, like, you know, penetrate me with his love and consciousness, and yeah.
Are you saying that it's good to hunger? That in order to come together with somebody, you should be hungering? Is that what you're saying?
There's all kinds of hunger, and in the work I do with women, when I help her to create her manifestation map, her divine wish list, I teach that there are 2 kinds of desires. There's a distinction there between soul level and ego level desires. So ego level desires are always compensatory in nature. They're intended to make up for some inherent sense of unworthiness or inadequacy.
Yes.
So, you know, once I had this really handsome trophy boyfriend. I call him my trophy boyfriend. And he was just like so handsome. He was like an Adonis. And being around him fulfilled some egoic desire in me to be seen in a certain way.
With a really striking man.
Yeah. And soul level desires, on the other hand, they're fully supported by existence. They come from the heart and soul. So different kinds of hunger. This hunger, this longing, that's deep in the core of the heart. That's a soul level desire. Yeah. The kind of hunger in the genitals, let's say. We're rooted in our animal nature. Feels good for
That's
the
right.
moment.
And we can't get rid of it, even if we want to. Even if we wanted to.
Yeah, you know, it's a good thing because, so here's a perspective on love that's unique from a Tantric tradition, which says that lower love, this genital hunger, lower love is just as important as this higher love. And there's tools, techniques to build, to amplify this lower love, this excitement, this juiciness, and to transmute it, to bring it into the higher energy centers in the heart and the brain. This is what fuels the awakening of our hearts and of our divine consciousness. So Tantra is a path for learning how to work with that energy in constructive ways.
Yeah. And what else have you observed teaching in different countries? How are people responding to your offerings?
My work in the south of France has touched me deeply. There was one ritual we did one night. So I always have to change my programs for the France audience. Yeah, they need to dance. They need to take their clothes off. They love to dance with their clothes off. They just it's like so one evening at dinner I took a survey and I asked the men, I asked the women, so what would make for an unforgettable ritual tonight, and what would just delight you to your core, what would elevate you, what would what would really turn you on all levels. And so I listened to the women, I listened to the men, and I concocted something. And what I saw in that ritual tonight, and in that evening, it brought me to tears. What I saw was total innocence within their ecstatic, erotic nature. And I noticed, if I was really honest with myself, I noticed that I could feel the part in me that where my puritanical programming is still in operation. I thought I'd done a pretty good job of clearing that, but they beat me out on that one. Part of a tantric path is the both and, is being able to be having the capacity to be with the paradox of the light and the shadow together. And it's that shadow that's the real gift. It's the treasure to help us see how we can grow and manifest more of our God nature.
Yeah. So,
people oftentimes see me as bubbly and joyful, and that is an authentic part of my personality, and there is a background of joy in my being from the work that I've done. And I've also been to incredibly dark, scary places, and I go there voluntarily still.
And that makes you such a fantastic guide for other women. So Jen, what's hot for you?
What's hot for me? I really get to tell you?
If you like.
Really, really?
You really get to tell me.
What's hot for me? What's hot for me is to be in lovemaking with my man, and he's totally in his masculine. He's penetrating me with his energy cock through my yoni, through my heart, out my crown, and I'm in total surrender. And we're really in our animal natures. We're really erotic, and it's really pure at the same time. In fact, it's everything. I don't know. Is it erotic? Is it sexual? Is it love? Is it God? Is it spirit? Is it ecstasy? It's all of that. And that does it for me.
That's pretty good. And I can tell that you like it.
I do. I have to share with you. My core message for women, and this is really a shortcut teaching. Ready?
Yes.
Okay, ready, ladies? Here we go. You could try this on at home. It's my job in life to enjoy myself as a woman. That message, being in that, doing that, just feeling, how's that feel in your body? That will bring forward your feminine gifts of joyful radiance and life-giving receptivity.
Wow, that's very clear. And what's my job?
Oh, your job. We could start with a foot rub. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. So the message I have for the masculine goes like this. It's different. There are different gifts for the masculine.
I know.
Through my unwavering presence and penetrating love, existence opens herself to me like a flower.
Well, you can't do it.
I know. That's my best approximation. But I tell you, if anything electrifies a room,
yes.
It's that. I've been
right
in a
on.
room. Men and women on either side. The men do their message. The women do their message. And the women squeal with delight. And the men they're sweating.
I know. I just wanted the men who are watching to also get what their homework is.
Yeah.
And you said that very well.
To learn to cultivate their gifts. And when both men and women develop their own internal opposite sex energy and cultivate their feminine and masculine gifts, that sets up what I call a virtuous circle. And it's what leads to harmony and the greatest passion, pleasure, and fulfillment in man-woman relationships. Women need to know what arouses them. It's one of the biggest mistakes that women make as lovers is to give the power of their sexual, sensual fulfillment over to the man as if he's supposed to figure it out. So women actually, they don't know. We don't know what really turns us on. And out of that work, I've developed a body of work I call the 7 Passion Gateways that helps women to understand how their energy flows in their feminine body, what creates deep arousal, intense desire, full body orgasm. So it's something that women really need to know. I once asked myself, what is the key to my sexual fulfillment as a woman? Is a question that I had been asking myself for years. And I discovered it's 3 things that it's my job to know. It's about me knowing what I want, knowing how to ask for what I want, and knowing how to receive what I ask for. One of the big aha moments in my life was, I call it my cornstarch moment. I was in a course exploring sensuality and eroticism with other women, and I was receiving a massage. They were sprinkling this cornstarch over my body and then spread it all over the contours of my body. And I went, oh my God, I've never experienced anything so pleasurable in my life. More so than any sexual experience, any orgasm I had had with a man. And then I asked myself, the light bulb that went off was, what if what really turns me on isn't what the porn and non-porn media are saying? Mm-hmm. What if it's something else? And that's what started my inquiry of what really turns me on as a woman. And this is secret information that I help women to discover about themselves and men to discover about their partners. Like, every man wants to know the keys to a woman's happiness and joy. Yes. So I provide
you hold the secrets.
Some secrets, some roadmaps, which tend to work for a lot of women. There's
Jen,
energy there.
Jen, how can people find you?
They can find me at my website, www.irresistiblyfeminine.com.
Irresistiblyfeminine.com. Yes.
Yeah.
For anybody who wants to become even more irresistible.
even more irresistible. It's possible.
Go to gym.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a great place to start is I offer a free gift, a practice, a sensual energy practice I recommend to all my students called Tune In, Tap In, and Turn On. And they can get that at my website /free gift or contact me for a Magnetize Your Amazing Man Discovery Breakthrough session.
And there's lots of resources on your website, right? About different packages and programs and things that people can do to improve their sex life and their relationships.
Absolutely, yeah. Not on the site, but in a conversation with me, they'll learn everything and learn ways how that I could support them.
Thank you for your joy. Thank you for letting your light shine so bright. Yeah, your light is really bright, and it's wonderful that you're willing to share yourself here on our platform. Thank you for being here, and let's continue all this wonderful work.
Great.
Yes, this was Private Matters, where we talk about sex, love, and intimacy. We'll be back with another topic soon. Thank you for watching.